47 Eyewitness News in high definition.
Coming up on CBS 47 at 11, he kept his promise. Hustlers Larry Flint made a visit to see his Fresno fans. Plus, North Bay families fighting back after the cause of those devastating fires is revealed. But first, we'll get an update to that terrible crash in Kerman. We now know who the victims are.
This is CBS 47 Eyewitness News at 11 in high definition.
Good evening, Dennis Valera here. Now to that update. We know the names of the two men who died in that car crash near Kerman yesterday. The Fresno County Coroner's Office identified them as Juan Rivera, possibly from San Joaquin, and Jose Garcia from Firebaugh. Both were 34 years old. California Highway Patrol says it happened when the two ran a stop sign on Nielsen Avenue, hitting another car going north on Lassen Avenue. The woman in the other car was taken to Community Regional Medical Center with minor injuries. These mark the second and third car crash deaths to happen in the Kerman area in just a week. Now, Fresno police on the lookout for someone who stabbed a woman earlier tonight. Police say it happened around 7:30 at Belmont and Palm Avenues. We're told the victim was crossing Palm when a woman came up behind her and stabbed her multiple times. The suspect ran away while the victim went into a nearby convenience store, and only then did she realize she was bleeding. She was then taken to CRMC with non-life-threatening injuries. Now here's the description of the suspect: Hispanic, heavy build, and she's said to be wearing a black dress. Police checked surveillance video in the area for her. If you know anything, give police a call. Now, a wild warning for two women riding motorcycles after one bike went down in the middle of the freeway. It happened just after 10 this morning on the 180 in Fresno. After the first bike went down, California Highway Patrol says the second biker stopped to help. Now, traffic tried to slow down, but two vehicles crashed into each other. CHP says at least one of those cars hit either one or both of the women.
We're not sure about the reason at this point why the motorcyclists went down, but that was the initial incident that we responded to, and then the subsequent collisions happened after that.
Now, CHP says the women were with a group of bikers. No one in either car was taken to the hospital, and no word on injuries for those who were transported. Now, an update to a story from January. A grand jury indicted the driver of a garbage truck that collided with a train near Crozet, Virginia. The train had dozens of members of congressmen and women heading to a GOP retreat. Passengers included Central Valley's own Devin Nunes and David Valadeo. 31-year-old Dana Naylor now charged with involuntary manslaughter and DUI. The NTSB's preliminary report found Naylor went around the already down crossing gates and was on the tracks when it was hit by the train. Two passengers in the garbage truck were ejected and one person did die. Now, big updates to the devastating wildfires in the North Bay. CAL FIRE investigators determined power lines caused the 12 deadly fires. PG&E says its programs meet state standards, but a lawyer representing people who lost relatives and homes says PG&E should have prepared better. Gabe Slate has a story.
I am sick and tired of having to console people who have lost loved ones and lost homes because of failed management practices by PG&E.
Frank Petrie is one of the lawyers representing North Bay wildfire victims who are suing PG&E for allegedly putting profits before public safety.
The summary that I received is a wholesale indictment of the failures of PG&E's risk management practices across the board. The report indicates that 8 out of these 12 fires all involve violations of state law dealing with tree trimming.
The lawyers here made it a point to express that they believe this CAL FIRE report will make it hard for PG&E to make a Mother Nature or blaming the weather type defense if they go down that road.
The wind conditions here were wind conditions that had been forecast days before. They knew the winds were coming. They knew the force of the winds that were coming. They knew the location of the winds that were coming. They had the ability to deactivate reclosers. They had the ability to de-energize lines. They did not.
Now, a busy day for Fresno, Clovis, and county firefighters battling fires throughout the afternoon in the hot and windy conditions. Fresno firefighters attacked this outside fire at the recycling station off Cedar Avenue. 3 engines responded and an air unit. Smoke visible from the 168 freeway.
In order to put a fire like this out, we have to move the fuel, spread it out in order to apply water because the fire becomes deep-seated in the piles of burning material.
Crews are still investigating how the fire started. Meanwhile, county crews battled this fire off Highland and Kings Canyon. We're told some kind of structure was burning, and this was a two-alarm fire. Now, but fire officials say crews were able to put it out fast. And over to Clovis now, firefighters were called to Herndon and Minnewawa. Around 4, crews say a fire started in bushes, then spread to a building, burning the outside and a car.
With this fire, it pushed through the bushes and the fire got a little bit bigger than it normally would without this wind.
Now, a power line had also fallen. Crews don't know if the fire brought it down or not. Now, another gun off the streets. Fresno Police's Southeast Special Response Team now has seized 32 guns since January. 29-year-old Jay Lohr was stopped when SRT officers noticed him make a traffic violation. When they searched his car, they found a loaded semi-automatic handgun. Police say Lohr told the officers he bought the gun off the streets for protection. He's now facing several weapons-related charges. The Southeast Policing District is reporting crime is overall down in the district by 8%. Now, we ended the week cooler than we started with some winds today, but what's to come? Over to our own John Strabel now. Hey, John.
Hey, Dennis, and they were certainly winds of change today because we felt a lot cooler out there as those winds did kick up. Taking a look at your sky cam throughout the course of the day, it was a sunny start to this Saturday, but take a look at what happened late in the afternoon. As this cold front pushed through and those winds picked up, cloud cover also picked up, finishing off today with some high-level clouds. Thin and wispy, so not resulting in any chance of rain. And as we work through your forecast, even though we will start the day off tomorrow with a few clouds, we'll be staying nice and dry. As for winds, they've calmed down just a touch as compared to earlier today. Fresno with 17-mile-per-hour sustained winds currently. Plenty of clear skies to be expected despite those thin and wispy clouds overhead tonight. Taking a look at tomorrow, starting the day off with a few clouds, but by noon burning off and 76 degrees for a temperature and more 80s in the forecast before a big warm-up towards the next week. I'm breaking it all down. Still to come.
All right, John, thank you. New at 11, Hustler publisher Larry Flynt came to see his Fresno fans. The controversial adult-themed store Hustler Hollywood opened last September on Shaw Avenue near the 41. CBS 47's Angelica Leilani is out there live. Angelica, he kept his promise.
That's right, Dennis. Larry wasn't able to attend the grand opening at this store because he says that he was under the weather, so he made a promise to come back out today to sign autographs and greet his customers.
I've been wanting to meet him forever.
Several customers waited in line at Hustler Hollywood in Fresno for the chance to meet the man who started it all, Larry Flynt.
I'm surprised that so many people showed up. It's been a very big surprise.
It's the first time the 75-year-old has visited Fresno since choosing the store's location.
It's one of our better stores. I like it a lot.
He signed autographs and posed for pictures with his customers.
Don't be shy, come on.
Flynn, a free speech activist, talked about the controversy surrounding the adult-themed shop.
People are quick to judge. I think they thought I was opening a brothel instead of a store.
He says his stores are a form of freedom of expression.
People want the freedom to be able to decide what their own reading material is or viewing material is. They don't want the government to decide it for them.
While at his meet and greet, Flynn also touched on the subject of President Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels.
It's all about fame, celebrity, and money in that order. He's guilty and she's guilty on capitalizing on it.
And from what we heard today, business is doing well. Live tonight in Fresno, I'm Angelica Leilani, CBS 47 Eyewitness News.
All right, Angelica, thank you. Now, a little national news now. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement says it is transferring hundreds of detainees to federal prisons. An ICE spokeswoman says some 1,600 people will be transported to 5 different facilities run by the Bureau of Prisons, including the one in Victorville, California. At least 1,000 detainees going over there. Now, it's the first large-scale use of federal prisons since President Donald Trump announced a crackdown on immigrants. Now, speaking of President Trump, he talked tough with 6 leaders from the world's leading economic powers. At times, it seemed the G7 summit was really the G6 against the U.S. Now, Trump demanded an end for all tariffs, comparing the U.S. to a piggy bank that everybody's robbing. He also warned America would win any trade war. Despite the tough talk, Trump insists he got along with all the leaders, instead blaming trade deficits on his predecessors.
I would say the relationship is a 10, and I don't blame them.
I blame, as I said, I blame our past leaders for allowing this to happen.
Now, Trump is heading to Singapore, where he will sit down for a face-to-face meeting with Kim Jong-un. It's scheduled for Tuesday. Now, back here at home, 200 people now have a shot at a job thanks to the Fresno Police Department and with more than 20 local agencies. Now, for more than a decade, FPD has partnered with group Bringing Broken Neighborhoods Back to Life to host block parties aimed at community outreach. The partnership is now adding themes for each event, today hosting its first ever job fair, organizers say. It gives local businesses and organizations a way to get in touch.
And that's why we themed our block party events, so now they can come out to this date and interact with the community.
We have people out here like Amazon, like Cargill, Fresno County EOC, Anthem Blue Cross, you know, just a wide variety of agencies. Even McDonald's is here, you know.
Now, there was also a computer lab open to the public and staff on hand to help with online applications and resumes. Now, I got more on the way on your weekend edition of Eyewitness News at 11. Now, they left their home when lava was flowing. Now they can go back. And later, it's story time, how one Fresno girl is helping the city's kids to read. But first, you know, it is Saturday, which means Powerball. Here are the numbers: 6, 10, 15, 25, 36, and 14. And then, of course, Super Lotto Plus, those numbers: 5, 11, 27, 33, 47, and 18. That jackpot is $22 million. Good luck.